Hello, everybody. It's great to be here as part of ASBX. My name is Simon Jenner, and I'm a private astronaut recruiter for Axiom Space. Today, I'm going to be talking about the future of private astronaut missions. Uh, First up, let me tell you a little bit about Axiom. Axiom Space was founded a number of years ago by a couple of gentlemen, one by the name of Mark Safradini, who used to run the International Space Station operations for over a decade for NASA, and Cam Gafarian, who ran the Stinger Gafarian Technologies, who was one of NASA's primary contractors for International Space Station operations and training. So the ISS has been around for a long time now. It's getting very close to its retirement. There's been no set date, but current expectations are that the ISS will need to be retired somewhere towards the end of this decade, around 2028 to 2030. And right now, the member nations don't have another solution. Whilst they have expressed a need and interest in retaining access to low Earth orbit, their sights are instead focused a little further out, now looking at the moon and then onwards to Mars. So this is why Axiom Space exists. We're here to fill that gap. And we were successful in early 2020 with the award, a very important tender award, where we gained access to a forward docking port on the International Space Station. Why this is important is because it allows us to start constructing our space station piece by piece, connected to the ISS and sharing the ISS's resources. So we can grow our station piece by piece, starting with launching our first module in 2024, second module in the next year. Both of those are going to be habitation modules with space for at least 4 astronauts to sleep, plus also some laboratory facilities. And then in late 2025, we'll be launching our laboratory and our Earth observation window. And in 2027, towards the end of the year, we'll be launching our power and thermal control tower. This will also include Axiom's airlock, at which point our station will be self-sufficient. And whenever the ISS is ready for retirement, we can then disconnect and continue on as a free-flying space station while the ISS is deorbited. And there's another picture there. You can see that beautiful Earth observatory in the picture there. This is going to be the biggest ever window constructed looking down on Earth. It can fit comfortably 3 humans, their full bodies in size there, more uncomfortably 6 or 7, and have an amazing view of Earth as well as the rest of the sky. So that's cool. There's lots of space we actually building hardware. So this first one here is the housing and hot dipping of our window, which is used then for pressure testing. This is some of the avionics, hardware and software testing. And here, this is an internal piece from within the space station. And this is basically showing the locking mechanism, which we'll be using. So that's great that we've got some hardware being constructed. Our pressure vessel is currently in construction in Italy by Thales Alenia Space. And once that pressure vessel is complete, that's going to be sent to our offices in Houston, where we'll do the rest of the internal fit out. And then it'll be ready for launch in 2024. The slide I've put up here is not something I'm going to go through in detail, but it just lists off what Axiom's expected customers and services are going to be. My focus today is going to be on the private astronauts. I have another colleague who is presenting a lot of these other elements in a different presentation at this conference. So Axiom is providing some private spaceflight missions. We're launching our first mission in February next year. Our astronauts are in training for that, and we'll show you some photos of that very shortly. And we are looking to be conducting about 2 missions per year. These missions are going to be primarily private astronauts, and then at a lesser frequency, we'll also be flying professional astronauts, or maybe referred to as astronauts flying from their home countries and sponsored by our home country. Our missions are mostly going to be 10 days, particularly for those short duration private astronaut missions. But for the government astronauts, we're looking at longer durations, up to 180 days, although we have interest for missions that go well beyond that. And of course, the benefit is that they take up a lot of science. The missions that our astronauts go on are definitely not space tourism. Whilst, like any NASA or ESA astronauts that go up there, they have a fantastic time living and working in weightlessness and in orbit. And our astronauts would be expecting to do the same. But they're also having a valuable contribution to science. So why do they choose to go to space? Of course, like most of us, is curiosity, the wonder and the awe of unknown, the desire of making lasting difference in on Earth from their activities in space. And this comes back down to a lot of the research that they're taking with them and the outreach that they're doing. But perhaps what people don't realize is that a lot of people want to go up there in order to help their philanthropic causes. Many of the private astronauts that are going to be flying with Axiom and potentially other companies as well are going to start off being ultra high net worth individuals. And those ultra high net worth individuals generally contribute a lot to society through their philanthropy. This is a way for them to also be able to target that and really leverage it, and then come back with that new title of being an astronaut in order to gain access to additional resources to help their philanthropic endeavors. We are flying our crews, at least our private astronaut crews, uh, with a crew of 4, which includes always one Axiom commander. On that left, you can see Michael Lopez Alegria, who is the Axiom commander for our first mission. So his role is to keep the rest of the crew, who are our customers, safe, but also productive throughout their mission so they can get the most out of their time aboard. We chose this because the early feedback we got when engaging with potential customers was that they felt safest with an experienced astronaut going there with them. And there's a really cool photo of Michael outside the ISS. Michael actually holds the US record for the number and the duration of EVAs, spacewalks. Uh, and we've announced 2 members of our AX2 crew who are also backup astronauts for our AX1 crew. The commander is an Axiom employee, is Peggy Whitson, another famous astronaut and also a holder of a number of US records. And John Schaffner is flying as our pilot. So what do we need? What does an astronaut need from a health perspective in order to be able to fly as a private astronaut? Now, this is a very big change because, as you can imagine, when you're an agency who is recruiting for astronauts, they're looking for people who are going to be able to fly successfully multiple times throughout their career. When it's an individual who's choosing to fly, it's a fundamental shift in the difference of thinking about the health that they need to be. This is very cool because it allows us to open up access to flight to a lot of people who perhaps couldn't have before. Now, of course, most critically, they need to be able to perform the uh, emergency access and egress safely, and a number of other activities safely. But an average person of average fitness is able to fly. And better than that, if there are people that have some underlying health conditions, we have the opportunity, Axiom, to work with them to either implement some preventative measures or some corrective measures or some measures to ease accessibility aboard the spacecraft. I won't go through all the tests that we do, but you can see that listed there. We also put our astronauts through NASA level training. So It's about, for a 10-day mission, you're looking at about 17 weeks total of training spread over just over a year. Of course, the majority of that is going to be crammed into the last few months before you fly. And I've got some photos here of their training. So first we put them onto parabolic flights. So they go through a number of parabolas where they firstly test Martian gravity and then a couple of parabolas of lunar gravity before they go on and start to experience the full weightlessness effect. And there we have a photo of our AX1 crew who are enjoying just that. We also put them through centrifuge training, ensuring that they can handle the profile of G-forces that will be expected both at launch but also at the return. And of course, survival training. So this is a photo, I believe this is a before, not an after photo, because everybody's still smiling a lot. But this is a photo of our AX1 crew and a couple of their guides who were taken out to the top of a mountain in Alaska and then were pointed at a mountain far off in the distance and were told, we'll see you there in a week. So they had to find their way from one point to another and survive in an extreme environment. And of course, there's a whole lot of team building that happens then. So that really promotes the connectedness of the crew and proved that they can work fundamentally they can work together very well. There's a lot of training happening at Houston as well. So this is inside a mock-up of the International Space Station, where the crew are learning what it's going to be like in their new habitat where they'll be living and working for those 10 days. That's Michael, who's helping to instruct the rest of his crew. And that's Michael and Larry inside the simulator for the Crew Dragon vehicle. So Michael and Larry will be doing the piloting, the commanding and the piloting of that craft. Whilst it is generally autonomous, they need to be trained in order to handle anything that can come up, any emergency situations, any corrective actions they're meant to take. And then, of course, I've got to tell you a little bit about the mission. So we have engaged SpaceX for the first 4 launches for Axiom. We are launch agnostic, however. So as soon as there are other providers available on the market, then we will be picking the right provider for the mission profile. So they'll take off for the mission and head up into orbit before docking at the International Space Station and looking back down at these beautiful views. I've got a few pictures here to demonstrate what most of the listeners here already know, the overview effect. Looking down on the Earth, not seeing borders, looking out at the sky and realizing how insignificant a lot of the earthly problems are, while seeing that thin blue line you can see just there, which is the atmosphere, everything that's keeping us alive. And that's it. Thank you for your time.